When we talk about the cloud, we usually point to the sky. We imagine our emails, our Netflix movies, and our AI prompts floating through the air, beamed from satellites to our phones. It's a beautiful metaphor. It's also a lie. 99% of all international data doesn't travel through the air. It travels through thousands of miles of fiber optic cables sitting on the dark, freezing floor of the world's oceans. These cables are the true backbone of the internet. They are the only reason you can talk to a server in Virginia from a desk in Mumbai in less than 100 milliseconds. Today, we're going to look at the massive engineering feat and the geopolitical nightmare of the undersea cables that keep the world connected. Most people imagine these cables are the size of oil pipelines. In reality, the part that actually carries the data, the fiber optic core, is about the thickness of a human hair. The rest of the cable is pure protection. We're talking about steel wire for strength, copper for power, and thick layers of polyethylene to stop the salt water from corroding the core. Inside that core, data moves as pulses of light. Using a technology called dense wavelength division multiplexing, or DWDM, we can send multiple colors or wavelengths of light through a single fiber. This allows a single cable, no thicker than a soda can, to carry over 250 terabits per second. That's enough to stream 10 million 4K movies at the same time. Light is fast, but it's not infinite. As it travels through glass, the signal gets weaker. Every 60 to 100 kilometers, the cable has a repeater. These repeaters are sophisticated optical amplifiers. But here's the catch: they need electricity. That's why these cables aren't just data lines, they are high-voltage power lines, carrying up to 10,000 volts of DC power from the shore all the way across the ocean. On either end, the cable hits a landing station. This is where the ocean meets the land. This is the edge of the backbone. From here, the signal is handed off to local fiber providers and eventually reaches the AWS or Google data centers you interact with every day. If you're in India, cities like Mumbai, Chennai, and Kochi are the critical gatekeepers of the nation's internet. For decades, telecom companies like Tata Communications or AT&T owned these cables. But in the last 10 years, the big tech giants have taken over. Google, Meta, and Amazon are now the biggest investors in undersea infrastructure. This isn't just business, it's geopolitics. Owning the cable means owning the route. We are seeing a new Cold War on the ocean floor. The US and China are racing to lay cables that bypass each other's territories to ensure that in the event of a conflict, their data and their AI stays online. You might think the biggest threat to the internet is a sophisticated cyber attack. In reality, it's usually a ship anchor. About 70% of cable breaks are caused by fishing nets or anchors being dragged across the seafloor. When a cable breaks, the internet doesn't just stop, it reroutes. This is the beauty of BGP, or Border Gateway Protocol. But rerouting takes time and causes massive latency spikes. Repairing these cables is one of the hardest jobs on Earth. A cable ship has to find the break, hook the cable with a grapnel from 2 miles deep, pull it to the surface, and fuse the microscopic glass fibers back together in a sterile lab on the deck of the ship. So, the next time you use an AI or watch a video, remember that it's not floating above you. It's traveling through a hair-thin piece of glass, miles beneath the waves, protected by steel and powered by 10,000 volts. But once that light hits the shore, where does it go? In our next video, we're looking at the software revolution that made the server invisible, serverless, and AWS Lambda.